Games. They provide entertainment and escapism from our monotonous daily grind. But what if the elements of games, such as goals, achievements, rewards, were applied to other daily situations? This is the principle behind gamification, where gaming elements are used in non-gaming contexts to help motivate people. But what causes this motivation? How does the theory and practice of gamification change the behavior of individuals? Furthermore, how can gamification be used, or in some cases, misused? One of the principles behind gamification is voluntary participation. A key factor in gamification is the willingness of the subject to participate. Mollick and Rothbard in their study found that a lack of concept can actually lower performance attitude, and that without people's sense of willingness and involvement in the game, a company is left trying to create mandatory fun. That said, gamification has been proven to increase workplace productivity. Therefore, the adoption of a gamification model, regardless of the context, has to be unanimous and voluntary for all those involved, or is nothing more than executive order to work in a fun way, which is not an unethical form of motivation. On the topic of motivation, Kim states that since the goal of gamification is always something other than gameplay itself, it seems natural to assume that what motivates people to engage in any gamified application is almost always extrinsic. Extrinsic in that there are tangible rewards for their participation in the game. It was found that intrinsic rewards, such as praise, were not as effective with adults as they were with children. This raised concerns in regards with the motivation to learn, which should be an intrinsic action, the reward being new knowledge. By introducing gamification, which runs mostly on extrinsic rewards, would it destroy an individual's intrinsic motivation to learn? Not necessarily. Gamification can offer a much needed change of pace to reinvigorate a person's learning experience, which might otherwise be boring and monotonous. One example of this is the website Mathletics, which is a spin on the Olympics incorporating educational math questions to help win the gold. This change of scene, as well as embracing of key ideas behind gamification, aka goals, a feedback system and rules, is a case of successful gamification in the learning context. In another example, Professor Paul Devasi claims that gamification, combined with learning, works well because it introduces a change in environment, and in turn the mentality of the individual. In his experiment where he turned his classroom into a gamified version of The One Who Flew the Cuckoo's Nest, he notes that students that were very quiet completely changed because of the new environment. As a result, he stated that a change of system offered the opportunity to harness a different type of mind. In short, they became more motivated through gamification. It should be warned that gamification needs to focus on rewarding success and not punishing failure. In actual video games, such as Dark Souls, my personal favourite, you fail more than you succeed, with each failure resulting in a harsh penalty. That said, Dark Souls is one of the most infamously hardest games, but most games have some sort of consequence if you fail or die. Bringing gamification to any other context should also beg to bring failure as well. Therefore, gamification in the workplace needs to be detached enough that it only acts as an engine for motivation, not as a key part of the job. After all, gamification motivates through achievements and rewards, not fear. Another use of gamification, or potentially misuse, is in the form of advertising. In the video by Extra Credits, they bring up the issue of an engagement crisis, where our entertainment industry has gone through the roof as we keep on creating and evolving more ways to keep us stimulated. As a result, advertising companies are adapting and getting increasingly clever by incorporating gamification into their business model to get our attention. Zuckerman and Cunningham outline that, when done well, gamification helps align our interests with the intrinsic motivations of our players, amplified with rewards making them come in and keep coming back. Only through the power of gamification can we make the experience predictable, repeatable, and financially rewarding. An example of gamified advertising is McDonald's Monopoly, which sometimes rewards players for their participation, all whilst the business collects income, more than they would without the gamified advertising. In conclusion, gamification's ability to motivate focuses on the rewards and the sense of achievement given to the player. As mentioned before, these nearly always have to be extrinsic rewards, as they provide the most positive reinforcement. Additionally, gamifying scenarios can help change the environment for the player, which can reinvigorate their motivation. But above all, the key behind this motivation is the willingness to play the game at all. After all, that's what makes it a game.